Is your house haunted? Do you have things moving around? You hear noises, voices, people talking, conversations, hear your doors shut, your sink make noises, whatever. Is it haunted? Do you have ghoulies coming in from the graveyards around town just to hang out in your house, shut your TV off, fuck with your lights? Is that what's going on? Probably not. You are going through what they call an operation or an exercise. These are weapons. I swear to God, these are weapons. Do you know the sounds, weird sounds heard around the world? They hear trumpets. They hear, people are hearing a hum that bothers them. It's all related. These are weapons that they are testing for psychological purposes. They used them on the Iraqis. They've used them on a lot of people, and it works for people who are very superstitious or very religious. I personally, I do believe in the paranormal, but 99% of the cases out there now are not paranormal. They're bullshit. These signals are piggybacking on your power lines. They're piggybacking on your cell signals, your wireless. They're piggybacking on your smart meter. Your smart meter is an address. Your old analog meter, your electric meter, and your gas meter used to be anonymous, random analog meters that just counted numbers. Now they have an antenna, a receiver, and an address. You literally have an IP address or a MAC address, basically, that allows them to identify your smart meter. Now, it's not just you. That's a very 20th century way of looking at things. They don't have to do that anymore. They blanket an area. And when somebody starts to pay attention, or if somebody is doing something that is letting them know that they should crank it up, they will. And then things get crazier and crazier. They do it to people that move into new houses to try to see if they can drive them out of the house. This is a psychological operations tactic. They use it on a lot of people. It's nationwide, worldwide. These weapons are being tested everywhere. So before you go to ghosts, see, they've got it on TV. You've got ghost hunters, you've got ghost adventures, you've got all these things to take away your rationality in a way. So instead of going, what the fuck is going on? We need to figure out what's up. Is my house bugged? Do I have some type of two-way communication hooked up? Instead of thinking logically, everybody goes directly to, oh, I've got a haunting. I've got to call in the witch doctor to get the ghosts out. It's not the case. So let's talk a little bit about how it works. You know, people they're regressing people. They're literally regressing people, turning people around. I mean, not only are they inverting your fucking reality, but they're regressing people. But that's another video. What it starts to do is it learns the sounds of your home. I've said this before, but I can't say it enough, and I'm going to keep making these videos until people, normies, other people start to listen. It learns the sounds of your house. So the first thing it does, it starts learning the sounds of your door, your front door, your back door, your bedroom door, your bathroom door. It learns the sounds of your home, your kitchen sink turning on, your bathroom sink, the television clicking on and off. All the noises in your home, including the voices of the people in your family and the people that hang out in your house, okay? So what will happen is, after months of this, it's logged, everything. They don't even need to do it. There doesn't need to be a person there anymore, and people need to wrap their fucking heads around that. There doesn't need to be a person doing this. It can be a computer logging sounds, click, 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 and then if they decide, or if somebody decides, or even if a computer decides that it wants to target you, what it will do is, at 11 p.m., 10:30 p.m., whenever someone lays down to go to sleep or whatever for the night, or is sitting there watching TV in silence. You know, it goes by noise. Most of the time, this stuff doesn't happen when the house is full of people because nobody's going to pay attention. So when you're sitting there at 10:30 at night watching TV or laying down to go to sleep, it'll start shooting those sounds that it has learned back into your home. So you will hear your door open and shut. Boom, boom. Holy fuck, somebody just opened up my back door. You go running out there and nobody's there. Your door was never opened up, ever. And it wasn't a ghost and it wasn't a ghoulie. It was a psychological weapon. And it shot the sound back into your house. If they are specifically monitoring an area, they're looking for keywords and or responses. Talk through your cell phones, computers, laptops, Alexa, your appliances. Everything that you've bought to make your life easier and less complicated is searching for keywords. Keywords like ghosts, demons, spirits, a Ouija board, God, witch, witches, devil, paganism, any of it, Buddha, all of it. If you're one of those people that's expanding your mind, you kind of got that jealous trip going on because other people have had experiences where they saw through the veil and you didn't see through the veil, and you're on some trip and you're looking that stuff up online on how to expand your mind or meditation, or I want to be able to see spirits or hear ghosts. It's going to happen to you, and you're going to be going, oh yeah, my ears ring when I'm talking to the higher level, man. And you're not. You're fucking not. You're talking to a fucking psychological weapon. And you're probably thinking right now, some of you like, how the fuck does this guy know, man? He's fucking arrogant, fucking. Well, guess what? It's happened to me, and I'm not only just gonna talk about it, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna play audio, and they're not ghosts, they're not demons, they're not ghoulies, they're not invaders, they're not aliens, they're not anybody. They make people think that they're schizophrenic. See, this is where, like, you hear about targeted individuals. And this is where this comes from, normies. Some of you out there that think your house is haunted. Well, people that are targeted with the same weapons, but they nail the body with the same weapon. Do you get what I'm saying? So people will be falling asleep and they'll hear just as they're drifting off to sleep, they'll hear like a clock or like a rooster, like in their ear, right? Wake them up. That's those sounds, same thing that they're doing to people's houses, but shot at the body. It's all the same thing. It's all one weapon, all of it. The trumpets, the hum, the fake hauntings, the beam and the melon with it. It's all the same. And while I'm fucking talking about it, let's get this straight. They've been using this shit for decades, except that it was in testing mode. They're still testing certain aspects of it, but right now it is like weaponized. They're just testing other things with the weapon. Like, can we shoot the voices in and do this? We know we can move things, certain things, a certain distance and do this and do this. Can we do this too? That's the only testing that's going on. It's weaponized. Back in the day, the original DeFeo family, the Amityville family that lived there, Butch DeFeo, he was the one that heard his family talking and plotting against him and all that shit. That sound shit was used on the DeFeo family from across the river or from the neighboring house. It was used on him, and it got him to whack his family, okay? Now, it was still set up. The shit was still set up around and in the house. So when the Lutz family moved in, they were using the sonic weapons on them too. They would hear kids talking, little girls, and all this weird shit going on. And they thought the house was fucking haunted. There's a lot of other aspects of it too. The Lutz family dealt with the same things that quote-unquote targeted individuals deal with. weird substances in the house, strange things, noises, things moving. It's the same thing. It's all the same weapon. So what I'm getting at is it's been around for decades, but now, since wireless and cell phones are everywhere now, it has taken over, and smart meters, because it's piggybacking. The signals are piggybacking on all of it. Even your power lines, it's coming through your power lines. It's just fucked up, and it pisses me off because I actually had a fucking private investigator come to my house and scanned the house and paid a lot of money for it. And he scanned my house with some bullshit RF meter that didn't even work on the proper signals. You know, it was some bullshit, looked like an AM, FM bug detector type thing. He came out, he scanned my house, and I swear to God, because they've literally fucking digressed this nation, the private investigator said, well, are you sure let's talk about it. Are you sure it's not paranormal? Because I was living in a house where blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, dude. I can't believe this shit. And he was catching shit, but couldn't hone in on anything. He was going shh, 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 shh. And he was finding things, but then the signal would hop. It would hop, 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 and then it would disappear. These people need to get hip to what the fuck's going on, and some of them are. But this guy was like, it was like dealing with like a backwoods fucking PI / surveillance dude from the 80s or 90s compared to now. Like now you got to be totally different. And it pissed me off, because you've got this professional that's had his mind warped by the television and other shit, and his first logical step was to go to the paranormal. And like I said earlier, I believe in the paranormal. I lived in a house as a kid that had weird shit going on in it that, by all accounts, seemed very paranormal to me. This is not paranormal. And it tricks people into thinking that it is, because a lot of the symptoms are almost identical. Now, don't get me wrong. Targeted individuals themselves go through a lot more. It's not just noises and shit, because somebody could get used to that and survive. For a targeted individual, your skin burns, your skin can itch, you'll get shocking sensations, electrical shocks that go up your legs into your body that are fucking painful, into your head. The ringing and the pressure in your head can make your head feel like it's either going to implode or explode. It's horrible. It's fucking horrible. But what I'm saying is, it's the same overall weapon. It's just one, big bag of tricks that they've got now. And they've tested it on people. And I've said this in other videos. I'm saying a lot of this stuff again. They used it on the Iraqis in the first Iraqi war that George Bush Sr. got us into. They sent the signal into the Iraqis' heads. And what they did is they said, this is Allah. And they convinced the Iraqi soldiers as a group that Allah was talking to them, told them to lay down their weapons and surrender. And that's why when those troops rolled in, they were way outnumbered, and they were able to take all these Iraqi prisoners as POWs. They didn't have enough zip ties, because they used the voice of God weapon. It's 2019, motherfuckers, and if you don't think this shit exists, you're living in a fucking hole in the ground, dude. The Navy was using this years ago, and what they were doing is when a boat was in the way in their path, they were sending the signal at the boat, and they were saying, move your boat, and it was scaring the shit out of people, dude. People were complaining that it was scaring the shit out of people while they were in their boats. And they thought it was funny as fuck. But it never got out. See, there's a way to hold this stuff back. And that's why stuff like this stays on the fringe until they can't hold back the water anymore. And I'm the guy that's bringing that water up and up and up and up and up. Because I've got enough evidence If anybody's interested, if you don't believe me or if you have questions or anything about this, you can just get a hold of me. Get a hold of me and ask for samples, and I'll send you fucking hours worth. I'm gonna give you a list of people that were hit with the haunted weapon. But before I do, let's talk about something really quick. You've got one of the symptoms of a haunted house and or a targeted individual is things are moved, okay? So let's talk about, I was watching a haunting show the other day, and the woman said every day I would come home and the apples she had these glass apples or whatever, these apples would be moved from around the house and would be put in a line in the hallway. Now, this is the same thing that happens to people that are being either quote unquote gang stalked or people going through electronic harassment. Now, gang stalking is not electronic harassment, and electronic harassment is not gang stalking. Get it straight. Let's move on. So these things are in a line there. Now, there's different ways you can look at it. Now, the people that think that they're being stalked and followed, that could easily turn into a haunting thing, but it's not. The chick that thought she was being haunted, see, it's like a choose-your-own-adventure book almost. The chick that thought she was being haunted could have looked at it as though she was being gang stalked or somebody broke in and did this, but she didn't believe that. She thought it was paranormal. So what's going on here is really like a choose-your-own-adventure book. There's the chick from Merck. You can look that up if you can still find it on YouTube, right? So there's the chick from Merck who came out about vaccines. She worked for the pharmaceutical company. She came out and spoke out against vaccines. They started gang stalking her to the point where she couldn't even come into her own house. What were they doing? When she would come home, they took her Buddha that was sitting on a table or it was sitting up on something, and they took it and they moved it to the middle of the floor. And then they did the same thing with her computer, her laptop. They moved that to the middle of the floor at a different time. And what that was supposed to do is either let her know that someone had been in her house or make her think her house was haunted. See, at that point, she was going through a choose-your-own-adventure book because she also could have thought that the alarm being tapped into and shut off was ghosts. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's up to you how you interpret that, and things seem to build off that for some people. So you got the initial period where it could be aliens, it could be ghosts, it could be people. And superstitious people generally choose ghosts. People that are into aliens generally choose aliens. And people that have a distrust for the government, agencies, the people they work for, or just other people in general, tend to think it's other people doing it. So I'm gonna give you motherfuckers a short list of people throughout the past 20, 30, maybe even 40 years that have been targeted by this from version 1 to what it is now. You've got the DeFeo family from Amityville, the Lutz family that moved into the same house after them. You've got David Berkowitz, who thought the neighbor's dog was talking to him. It was in the wall. He was punching holes in his walls to find it. Go look it up. Look up the photos and check them out. James Holmes, the Aurora, Colorado Batman shooter, was definitely hit with this stuff. Not the haunting weapon, part of it, but the haunting weapon that hits your body, which is what they call being a targeted individual or being under electronic harassment. Myron May, Florida shooter. The guy was an attorney, and the guy was brilliant before they got him with this. Aaron Alexis, he was a shooter that carved my ELF weapon into his shotgun. ELF stands for extremely low frequency. Gavin Long, shooter. Nassim Agdam, shooter. Nicholas Cruz, Florida shooter. Heard demons. And David Crowley, who was the director of Gray State, who was totally a normal guy. And then all of a sudden, he and his wife thought that they were under demonic attack. And his wife started hearing voices. You know, think about all this. Listen to those names again if you have to and think about it. So, you know, when they get somebody that's a little unstable or can teeter or is superstitious, they've got a fucking powder keg on their hands and they know exactly what they can do with it. They can do the same thing with these hauntings to people. They can haunt them crazy, if you will. And that is just a short list. I'm just rattling up a few. Because if I sat down for a half an hour, literally a half an hour, I could write out 100 people. 100 people that were hit with this. And not only that, but you've got all these people, if you look it up, these crazy things where someone thinks someone is in their house and they either book and they do something totally irrational when they leave, or they think somebody is in the house and they do something totally irrational when they're in the house. See, with me, I believe in the paranormal, and I have things around the house that have to do with the paranormal, okay? So when this started, now it could have been that some algorithm or somebody thought that I was a great candidate for something like this. But the problem with me is although I still believe in that stuff, I'm rational above it. There's very few people that teeter in between those two things, but I'm one of them. So being rational above that led me to believe right away that this wasn't ghosts and this wasn't a normal haunting, because I could hear clicking and buzzing also when I would hear weird shit in the house. You know, there would always be like a fry effect, click or a pop or a zap or something that gave it away, and it wasn't real. Now, one last thing before we get to the good stuff. This is not something you're going to hear a lot of disinformation out there. And, you know, these days, when anybody hears something they don't like, they always say, you know, that person is an agent. I could easily say that all these people that believe this are agents because they want you to believe that somebody is involved with it, like close to you. But I don't believe that. I believe that they're suffering. Some of them are suffering, and some of them are misinformed. But no one has to be around you. This is something that's done from afar. This is the 21st century. It's 2019, and no one has to point anything at you. No one has to point anything at your house to haunt it. No one has to point anything at your car. This is piggybacking. It's piggybacking on everything, and they can still attack your house, you, your vehicle, or anything else without directly pointing something at you. So please remember that as we move forward. Now let's get going on to the good stuff, the audio. Here we go. The following clips are from my sarcastic asshole baiting EVP session in February of 2019.
Are you in the United States or Israel? Yes or no?
Are you a spooky demon or a government contractor?
How many government contractors does it take to haunt a house?
This spooky ghost hunt took place today, May 2nd, 2019, in my bedroom, in the middle of the afternoon, where ghosts usually don't come out to fuck with you. When you're done haunting a house for the day or night, what is your favorite thing to do? Does it anger you when I make fun of electronic harassment or fake hauntings and approach it in jest? Why do you reside in my house, spooky demon? More random clips from my spooky EVP session on May 2nd, 2019. What's crazy about this is some of these would be what people consider Class A EVPs in the ghost world. Okay, this one's a little noisier than some of them, but it's my favorite. You're going to hear a female voice right here. Female voice is going to say, he has evidence. Sort of like a ghostly female voice. He has evidence. It's like that. And then next, you're going to hear a male voice that says, that motherfucker needs to be silenced. That motherfucker needs to be silenced. That motherfucker needs to be silenced. Then it says something here and I don't know what it is. It's the female voice again. So let's play the whole thing again. That's my favorite part right there. That motherfucker needs to be silenced. One more time for the whole thing, we're done. Peace of the Bob, baby, how's the hellfire? Alright, now I'm going gonna play you some older clips. We're gonna check out some more spooky demons from my haunting. These were recorded between 2014 and 2018. So imagine that going on while you're, trying to sleep in the middle of the night, or if everything's off in the house. So your house is not haunted. I'm gonna say it again. Your house is not fucking haunted. All right, that's the end of it. Before anybody opens their big fat mouths, I don't record with anything wireless. I don't use phones. I don't use anything, tablets, anything that can connect to wireless and pick up crosstalk. I only use old school recorders like Sony Handycams, old tape recorders, and or handheld digital recorders that don't have wireless or Bluetooth. So it is not crosstalk. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. And remember, before you call the witch doctor, think.